Maria Kovalenko was 22 years old when the war came to her small village in Eastern Europe. She had grown up in a world that, only a few years earlier, had seemed safe, predictable, and ordinary. Summers had been filled with laughter, children playing in the fields, the smell of freshly baked bread drifting through the streets, and evenings spent around the family table. Autumns had brought golden harvests, the sound of leaves crunching underfoot and the slow, gentle chill in the air that hinted at winter's approach. Winters were long and harsh, but they were warm with family, firewood stacked in every home, and the hope that spring would always come. And spring was the time of renewal, the time when green shoots pushed through the earth, rivers swelled with melted snow, and birds returned to the trees. It was a rhythm, a cycle, a comfort, until the war broke that rhythm forever. The summer of 1943 was unrelenting, but Maria had managed to survive so far. The village streets were filled with smoke, rubble, and the constant reminder that the world she knew had vanished. Families disappeared overnight, the sky was streaked with the orange glow of fires, and the scent of ash and death lingered in every corner. She had learned to move silently, to hide whenever the sound of marching boots echoed through the village, to trust no one completely. Fear had become her constant companion, her shadow. And yet, even in the heat, she dared to hope, to believe that if she stayed alert, she could survive another day. Then one morning soldiers arrived. Their uniforms were crisp and clean, their faces unreadable, their weapons glinting in the sunlight. Maria thought she had been found at last, thought that this time, someone would finally take her away from the destruction, from the fear, from the endless days of hiding. She followed without hesitation, relief washing over her like a wave. For a brief moment, she allowed herself to imagine safety, warmth, and perhaps even a future. But instinct told her something was wrong. The streets were too quiet. Shadows seemed to move with a life of their own, and the soldiers moved with a precision that felt unnatural, almost surgical. She did not know, as she stepped behind them, that she was walking toward her own grave. As summer faded into autumn, the air grew colder, and the fallen leaves coated the ground in a golden-brown blanket. The soldiers led her through ruined streets, past burned-out homes, and into narrow alleys littered with rubble. Each step was heavy, the chill biting her exposed skin. Every sound, a falling branch, a distant shout, the crunch of leaves underfoot, set her heart racing. Finally, they descended into a trench. Maria thought it was a shelter, a place to hide from snipers, a temporary refuge. But as the trench widened, she realized the horrifying truth. It was a pit, a grave filled with the bodies of men, women, and children who had come before her. Some were bound, some were covered in dust and ash, their faces frozen in terror. The realization struck her like a physical blow. She was being led to death, and she could see it, smell it, feel it. Panic exploded in her chest, threatening to consume her. Her legs trembled, her hands shook, and her throat felt tight. One of the soldiers hesitated. A noise from behind distracted him. In that instant, Maria acted. She lunged forward, stumbling over the rubble, her heart hammering, lungs burning with exertion and fear. Behind her, the pit waited silently, a grave for those who hadn't been fast enough. She ran, each step fueled by sheer instinct, by the desperate will to live. She did not know if she would make it, only that she had to try. Winter arrived with brutal force. Snow blanketed the ruins, turning debris into treacherous obstacles, and transforming familiar streets into a disorienting labyrinth. Maria hid in abandoned cellars, shivering from the cold, her fingers numb from frostbite and her clothes soaked and frozen. Hunger gnawed at her stomach with relentless intensity, but she pressed on. Each day was a battle not just against soldiers, but against the merciless elements themselves. The icy streets echoed with distant gunfire and faint cries of the fallen, a constant reminder of the danger lurking in every shadow. Every movement could mean discovery, and discovery could mean death. In war, survival is not only about courage. It is about enduring the world itself, its cold, its snow, its merciless cruelty. Spring brought a fragile promise of life. Green shoots pushed through the rubble, rivers swelled with melting snow, and birds returned to bombed-out trees. Maria found small groups of survivors and cautiously joined them. They shared food, information, and small moments of hope. But the danger never truly left. Every path they took, every bridge they crossed, could lead to death. Each season brought new challenges and new lessons in survival. Maria learned to read the terrain, to predict the movements of soldiers, and to trust her instincts in split-second decisions. Every encounter, every narrow escape, reinforced the fragile balance between life and death. Summer returned, scorching and relentless. The ruins baked under the sun, and thirst became an ever-present threat. Maria moved cautiously across open fields and through ruined towns. She witnessed atrocities, the consequences of hatred and war, but also acts of humanity and courage. Neighbors risking everything to hide others. Strangers sharing the little food they had. Quiet moments of solidarity that kept hope alive. Every season tested her in different ways, forcing her to adapt and grow stronger. Autumn came again, bringing cold winds and falling leaves. Maria was no longer the frightened girl she had been that first summer. She had survived ambush, betrayal, hunger, frost, and the constant threat of death. She had learned that survival required not just courage, but intelligence, adaptability, and unwavering determination. Each narrow escape honed her awareness, sharpened her instincts, and strengthened her resolve. The memory of the pit, of the soldiers' cold faces, and of the lives lost haunted her, but it also reminded her why she had to keep moving, keep surviving. Winter followed, harsher than ever. Snow covered every ruin, turning familiar streets into icy mazes. Maria had learned to move silently, to ration food carefully, and to make life or death decisions in seconds. The seasons themselves had forged her into a survivor, shaping her courage and resilience as much as fear or combat ever could. Spring arrived once more, offering the possibility of renewal. Maria, now a leader among the scattered survivors, guided them through ruins and forests, teaching them how to hide, how to move, and how to endure. Her courage inspired others. The war had taken much from her, but it had also forged a resilience and wisdom that few could match. Survival is not a single act. It is a series of choices repeated through seasons, through fear, fire, frost, and hope. Through countless months, Maria endured summer's heat, autumn's decay, winter's cold, and spring's fragile renewal. She witnessed the worst and best of humanity. She learned to act quickly, to trust her instincts, and to never surrender to fear. Her journey was a testament to the strength of the human spirit, a chronicle of resilience against unimaginable odds. By the time the war ended, Maria was no longer the young woman who had followed soldiers that first summer. She was a survivor, a witness, a keeper of stories. She carried with her the memory of every season, every narrow escape, and every act of courage she had witnessed. The war had stolen much, but it had not broken her. She thought she was going to safety, but it was her courage, quick thinking, and endurance through every season that saved her from her own grave. Maria Kovalenko's story reminds us that courage is not only about facing enemies. It is about surviving the world itself, its seasons, its dangers, and the relentless pressure of war. Her journey through summer heat, autumn decay, winter cold, and spring renewal stands as a testament to human endurance, hope, and the will to live, even when the odds are impossible.